Recently, we had a nice little circle jerk talking about Blockbuster, going over everything that made it great, why we loved it, and also everything that led to it eating such fat shit in the end. And I thought, well, if we're talking about dead businesses, we might as well talk about the most recent and modern example, Tumblr. Blockbuster died with its boots on, whereas Tumblr died with its condom on. Blockbuster went out with a sad whimper and a pathetic puff of a wet fart, whereas Tumblr literally shit itself out of existence. Blockbuster couldn't adapt to change, and Tumblr forced change, which ended up killing it. Or, I'm gonna say killing it loosely because it's not exactly completely dead. I'll get into that in a little bit. But why are we talking about Tumblr and putting it in the same league as Blockbuster? Well, it's because this week it was revealed Tumblr was sold for less than $3 million to WordPress when it was bought by Verizon in 2013 for $1.1 billion. That's a pretty fucking significant difference and a huge loss that they're just biting the ass on. So let's go over the entire history of Tumblr and how it got to this point. So Tumblr was founded in 2007 by David Karp, the primary purpose of the website being blogging. It wanted to be the best blogging site it could be, and during this time period, blogging was the shit. Everyone was doing it. Every middle-aged soccer mom on the planet had her own blog. 2 kids, red wine, just fine. A blog adventure by Sandy. And I'm not just saying it was only for boomers, the older generation blogging. During this time period, everyone was. Kids, teens, tweens, adults. Everyone had their own blog to put out their uniqueness, talk about their day. And David Karp envisioned a world where all of that would be on Tumblr. And to a certain extent, he was right. Tumblr became the hub for most blogs. And Tumblr had a very unique advantage over pretty much every other website in existence. It was extremely anonymous if you wanted it to be, which is by far the biggest contributing factor to the website's success. By being anonymous, people felt much more confident posting on it than they did Facebook, because on Facebook it's attached to them directly, and their real-life friends and family see it most likely, so people don't want to post their deep, dark secrets and fantasies on there, whereas Tumblr being anonymous is much more appealing to something like that, to get it all out and put it all out there for people to see, without having to feel worried about someone judging them or being a real-life consequence for what they put out there. And also on Tumblr, there really wasn't a whole lot of ways for people to interact with each other directly. Commenting wasn't exactly a huge thing. The main way you'd interact with a post is through reblogging it yourself. So people would really only see the positive things where people are reblogging their stuff. The more they share, the more reblogs among the same people, then you have an entire community form around it. And there was a community for pretty much fucking everything on the planet. If you had a fetish for the Ninja Turtles fighting crime while wearing diapers, there was a Tumblr crowd for it. If you wanted to read and write poems about the extreme dinosaurs fighting the Ninja Turtles in dirty diapers, there was definitely content for that as well, whole communities. The point being, on Tumblr, there was a community for everyone, and every community was welcomed, which was both a great thing and a curse, like having a dick that's too big, where you can't get laid because it's too scary, but also having the prestige of having a massive dick. It's a double-edged sword. By welcoming all of these communities, it eventually led to Tumblr falling into hot water and eventually leading to where it is today. Not exactly dead, but not exactly... it's dead. No, yeah, pretty much leading to its death. But anyway, within the first 2 weeks of Tumblr's launch, they had 75,000 signups. It hit the ground running, and it wasn't long after that it established itself as the biggest player in the blogging space, as well as really just kind of fan art in general. By 2012, it was beating Instagram and Pinterest in monthly viewers, and in 2013, it was bought by Verizon for $1.1 billion, but they kept David Karp on board to keep things running smoothly, which it did. For the most part on Tumblr for the users, it was business as usual. There wasn't any radical changes under the new ownership of Verizon. However, the identity of Tumblr was slowly changing. Whereas before it was more focused on blogging, now the tone was shifting where it was mainly focused on adult content. Porn, fanfic with massive cock and balls, a lot of niche porn communities and fetishists used it. It was basically home to pretty much anything adult-oriented, and that was massive for it, leading to 640 million monthly visits by July of 2018. It only continued to grow over this tone shift. However, this was pretty detrimental to Tumblr as an advertiser, because no one wants to advertise, fucking Ford right next to Batman bending over a rhinoceros with a veiny cock as comes pouring out of the rhino's mouth. So most advertisers were hesitant to advertise on Tumblr with all of this adult content, because in general on the internet, most advertisers aren't gung-ho about it. I'm sure a lot of you watch YouTubers, and a lot of them talk about demonetization if you say fuck too many times, or if you put out a combo of words like fuck ass or ass fuck. Sometimes that'll even be enough to scare advertisers off. Tumblr had that times 100 million. It was very hard for them to find advertisers after their initial Adidas deal in 2012. They struggled very hard in that department, and in 2017 is when things really did start to change a little bit for Tumblr. In 2017, David Karp leaves, and by 2018, they start to notice things are a little bit wrong with the site. There's some very degenerate communities on there, and then in November of 2018, the final nail in the coffin strikes where it's removed from the App Store because child pornography now has a home on Tumblr, and that was a huge issue for obvious reasons. And then, you know the story, in December 2018, December 17th, they outright ban porn and overly adult content nudity. That's really when Tumblr died. That's the day the fat lady not only sung, but shit her pants for Tumblr. That was pretty much the end of an era. Up until this point, everyone, myself included, and if you say you didn't use Tumblr for porn, I know you're lying to me, everyone was using it to find good porn, or even just look at the GIFs, and that was enough. It was the go-to for any type of fetish, anything. It always had all of the adult content, and that's what its identity really became. So when you took that away, you had to know it wasn't going to bode well for the site, and only days after the announcement, its users dropped by 30%. And nowadays, most people don't even talk about Tumblr outside of Tumblr unless they're pissing on its grave. But the interesting thing is, Tumblr's not dead. Tumblr is still getting, as of August 2019, 380 million monthly visits. So I have to wonder, why the fuck did it sell for less than $3 million with that kind of power? That's still a massive site. And also, who's still using it? Because, like I said, it's not really talked to outside of its own website. Most of the people that were power Tumblr users, huge blog masters, guru gamer assassin Tumblrs, have moved to other sites, Twitter, DeviantArt. They take their talents elsewhere. There's really no one left on Tumblr, so how? How is it still so massive? And I've looked for the last couple hours, and I really can't find where it's coming from. I have to wonder if it's like a giant fucking conspiracy or something from David Karp, like he set up a fucking Bitcoin mining farm, but for mining views on Tumblr. So I have to wonder, what fucking idiot made this deal for Verizon if Tumblr is still pulling these kind of numbers to sell for $3 million? It makes no sense, unless there's more going on under the hood, or maybe if it's just as simple as the executive was, coming into work after a fat key bump of coke and injecting meth directly into his penis veins, and he just, stumbles in, Tumblr, I'll give it to you for $3 million and you kiss my wife on the lips. Deal? I just don't get it. Maybe it was a huge accident like in Rocko's Modern Life where Big Head accidentally bankrupts the entire company. I just don't understand why they would sell it for so low if these numbers are accurate, which multiple sites say they are. It's fucking wild to me. So it's not exactly dead if you're going by just pure volume. There's still clearly a lot of clicks coming through on Tumblr, but outside of its own website, it really doesn't seem to have the same impact that it used to. Whereas people were always linking to Tumblr shit, talking about it, and using it, mainly for porn, almost exclusively for porn towards the later span of its life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Bring back porn on Tumblr, and you'll probably revive Tumblr if I had to guess. But under WordPress, I don't think that's going to be the case. But anyway, that's the history of Tumblr and the death of Tumblr. Though it's not exactly a death because it's still super popular. It's kind of like in Hey Arnold with a Dino Spumoni faking his own death. It's kind of what Verizon's done to Tumblr. We only pretended to kill it. It's still popular, just not as popular. Which was surprising, man. I really can't express how shocked I was by the numbers it's pulling after the huge blow it took to getting rid of adult content. But anyway, that's it. That's the story of Tumblr. See ya.